All right, everybody. I am here today with my tax man, Taylor Adams, and we are the Men in Black. If you're watching this one, we're sporting those black polos today, and we are here to bring the value. Now, Taylor is joining me as part of my Know, Like, and Trust podcast series. And I'm excited to have him with us today because, as you're my audience and he's my tax man, he's the man that I know, like, and trust to be able to do this. And probably during the course of this episode, I'll share with you how that moment of trust started really quickly, and where I was like, Taylor, I need you, and he responded to that need, and he filled it so quickly and so well, and even today was helping me out with some tech stuff. So I'm here to introduce Taylor to you, and for those who are new to the format of this podcast. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get to know Taylor, just find out a little bit about him, his family, what he likes to share with people about himself. Then we're going to move on to what does he like about the tax business? Why is he in that as a tax professional? And why do people like doing business with him, like myself? And then finally, we want to build some trust with you from Taylor. And so he's got something of value that he's going to leave with you. So whether or not you use his services, you at least leave the podcast better off than we found you because now you've got this value add from Taylor. So, Taylor, with that intro, let's just bounce over to you and let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, your family, and anything else you want to share.
Awesome. Thanks, Russ. Thanks for having me. Just a little bit about me. So I am living in Woods Cross, Utah right now, um, and have a little family. My wife and I just celebrated our fifth anniversary. We have two little kids. Lily, our daughter, is 2.5, and Archer is 1.5 almost. And then we have another one actually on the way here at the end of July. So July 24th for any Utahns out there, that's Pioneer Day. So we're expecting our third around then, and so our hands are going to be full this summer, and so it's a lot of fun. But aside from just family and stuff, we just love to play games, spend time with our extended family. We just got back from a camping trip and had a lot of fun getting dirty in the dirt and just trying to keep our kids alive and not eat rocks. But and then so we love the outdoors. But yeah, we also love, probably, as you can see in my background, I've got some Lego paraphernalia. I love Star Wars, and um, I play an occasional video game, but don't have too much time for that right now with the kids.
All right. Well, I would ask you about the Mandalorian movie, but we don't want to distract too much, and I'd hate for you to create any contention here about that. But we're gonna say let's go Legos and let's go Star Wars. I think most of us love those two things. And
Yeah.
one of the yeah, well, thank you. And as we move into what you like about tax and what people like about doing tax with you, I'm gonna start with one of the things I really like. In fact, I love this about Taylor. Taylor is fun. He has a personality, and not that tax people don't have personalities, but I just like people who are fun and bright and warm and funny, witty. Taylor brings all of that. He's got wit. I mean, when he and I are sitting in a meeting, it just seems like he can pull out something funny from any situation. So, along with his tax prowess expertise, he brings a lot of wit, and I probably just because you're a smart guy. I mean, I think he just sees the fun in everything. So super cool. That's one of the things I like about you. Really love that about you, actually, Taylor. And so I appreciate that. And I want to turn it over to you. What was it about the tax biz that you're like, I want to be a part of this biz? You like it? Why do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story for me, and I appreciate all those things you said about me. It means a lot. So with the tax business, I got into that. I was working for America First Credit Union, just in banking, as I was growing up and finishing high school, getting into college. That was kind of something that seemed like a good college job to have. So I worked at a bank or a credit union for a while, and in doing that, I met with a bunch of people, and they as an employee of a credit union, or a bank, lots of times you have opportunities to talk to people about loans. and then you have to talk about income qualifications, things like that. So, in doing that with a fair amount of people, I talked to some accountants, and their income seemed pretty good based on what they were doing. So that caught my eye as far as, hey, this is something that I could do and support a family. And I was already kind of in that number mindset and field. So that's when I started to dive in and take my classes more seriously with accounting. I had taken some other classes in other fields, but just didn't work out like many people. Your majors change as you learn and grow. So I started my accounting degree in about my second semester or third semester. That's when I started looking into internships and things like that that were anything accounting. And then that's when somebody walked into my branch. I was being a teller at the time, and they just came up, needed a simple transaction. But as I was helping them, just had a conversation about their business. Their business was a bookkeeping business, and so I just was chatting up with them, trying to see, oh, like, how did you get started and things like that. And that's when they said, oh, like you're in school for that. I work with a tax accountant, and he's actually looking for people that are in school that he can train to do taxes. And so during that, um, long story short, I started working for that tax firm, um, and got a lot of experience. The first year was, I mean, just brutal. I think I lost 20 pounds just from the stress that I felt, and had multiple days that I went through that I felt like just lost my appetite and things like that. Um, all that being said, like it was a very grueling learning experience, getting used to the stress of tax season because many people have asked me, okay, so you do taxes, what do you do the other 8 months of the year? Because majority of people file their taxes between mid January and mid April. But so those people that file on time or are able to file on time, they're like, "What do you do?" And so that's when I have to say, I'll come up with some quippy answer like, "Oh, I just twiddle my thumbs," or "Oh, I go sip a pina colada on the beach," or whatever. But in reality, I'm still helping people. There's people that need amendments. Just through Russ and some other people, they introduced me to some guy that needed something changed on their tax return. So sometimes we have to talk to people like that. Um, but I'm getting a little sidetracked. Sorry about that. So really, what got me into and staying in the tax business um, stems from my work experience, just all growing up. Pretty much every job I've had from when I was 12 years old to today has to do with some sort of customer service or trying to make somebody's life better. And I noticed it more when I was working at the credit union, is when I was able to help people save money or do something that put a smile on their face. And again, like saving money, everybody wants to have a little bit more and or have a little bit of a cushion. And so being able to help people in that way brought me a lot of joy. And so when I'm able to do that with the tax returns, taxes unfortunately bring a lot of people stress and anxiety. So if I can be a tool to help them reduce that stress or eliminate it even, that just makes me super happy. And uh, yeah, really just helping people is the best thing that I like to do about with taxes and everything.
Mm. And I could tell, and my wife Hillary and I, we were the recipients of that help, which I want to lead into the second part of the like in just a moment with my experience, which is why do you perceive that people like doing business with you? And you may reiterate some of the stuff that I say. So, again, my introduction to Taylor as my new tax man was I had started an S Corp last year, didn't realize there was a difference in dates for filing with an S Corp compared to how I'd filed with my LLC the year before. and Taylor said, just happened to say to a group of friends of us, hey, if you didn't know, it was something along the lines of, hey, if you didn't know, the filing date for S Corps is March 16th, I think, or May 15th or something he said. And we were just weeks away, and I was like, wait, what? I, I had not done my due diligence, I guess, that I should have done to find out about like the difference. I was just like, it's an LLC, they're both LLCs, it didn't matter. But without Taylor dropping that value amongst this group of friends, all of a sudden I'm just waiting till, I'm still waiting an extra month to get my stuff done and just do it. Like you were saying, it's something I'd rather not do. With my tax professional, I'll just do it later. But Taylor swooped in. He won my trust really quickly on that one because all of a sudden I thought, well, wait, why isn't my tax professional that I've been using checking in on me, letting me know this? Like, yeah, maybe I should have let them know. There is 100% responsibility on my side. And where's that reciprocation 100% responsibility? So Taylor had that 100% responsibility, dropped that information. All of a sudden, I'm like, Taylor, we got to talk. And we did talk. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, we're set up because I want to be set up. And he's helping me out quickly. And here's one of the things I really like about him is he is quick to communicate. I really appreciate quick, open communication. And that is something that Taylor delivers on really well, even to the point of which I appreciate the automated responses of, hey, just having your phone like spit back out to me, Taylor, like, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I know, okay, that's his phone responding, but I know message received. And then I know that you do get back to me really quickly. And it's not just a me thing. I mean, we've got friends that you work with that I know this is the way that Taylor operates. So that's one of the things I really like about doing business with you and the follow up. Like even today, you were helping me with some tax stuff where it was like, hey, we had a couple loose ends here and it was all taken care of, and you were able to show me how to do that. So you were helping me learn how to be better at what I need to know and do with a lot of patience and grace. So thank you. And what else along with that, or yeah, besides that, do you feel like people seem to really like doing business with you?
No, I appreciate that, and especially just being able to sit down with you today, going through some of that. Really, when an issue or a problem is on somebody's mind, right then is the time to fix the problem. Because for me, even like it's easy to forget. Life happens. If you get a notice or something from the IRS or something just as something is wrong or out of date, if you don't do it right then when you're thinking about it, it's hard. So I'm glad we were able to touch base earlier today and tackle those things. um, but honestly, I think you hit on a bunch of the things that I feel like people like about me. It's always a weird feeling saying like, oh yeah, this is why I'm great. But I got um, I was telling you about somebody that I met with earlier today, and they were actually nice enough to leave me a Google review, which reminded me like, oh, let me just kind of like review what people have been saying about me before hopping on with you. And I would say the most common thing that was said about me was, hey, he's really easy to communicate with, and he's really patient. Um, I know how stressful things can be. I've gone through lots of different stressful situations in my life, and I don't want people to think that it's the end of the world just because they need to file their taxes. It's something that we do need to do, but if I can educate people in a way that they feel more comfortable with it, or that they feel that they can trust me to do something so that they can feel more comfortable, then that makes me feel better. Um, and then I mean, you touched on the cliche is accountants don't really have personalities or things like that, and um, that is one thing where I differ. I think the firm that I kind of got my start with, that was one thing that they mentioned when I was going through the thick of it. I was being really hard on myself and things, and they would tell me like, hey, like you're gonna get through it. I know it's hard right now, but you're actually gonna. I can see that you're gonna be one of the better accountants because you do have that personality that you like to connect with people. rather than just give me your documents, let me give you your return, don't talk to me for another year, blah blah blah, like whatever it is. And I think that in general that's kind of the shift when I've talked to other accountants that they're trying to be more people focused. But that doesn't change the fact that there's a cliche out there for a reason. So I try to be aware of that. I feel like sometimes when I go to meetings and big group events, some people try to avoid me because they're like, "Oh, like I don't want to think about taxes," even though they haven't talked to me about it. And I'm like, I'm just ready to ham it up with anybody about what they're interested in, and I'm a huge nerd, so if I can talk to people about what's fun to me, I like doing that first. Fun is fun is fun, but uh, if you got to work hard to play hard at the same time. So that's that's what I try and live by.
Well, you are absolutely professional and very personal at the same time, which I love that combination. And I'm just going to pan my camera over here so that people can see what this says. This from your website, which I'll put it out there,
Right?
tba.tax. So not tbatax.com, but tba.tax. I love that you got that domain. It's perfect because your company is TBA Tax and you are our
Yep.
friendly neighborhood tax guy and well, tax guide. And I like that. Like you are the friendly neighborhood tax guy, but you're the guide that you have been helping. And I love the way that you do it. And yeah, you hit on a lot of things that, man, I don't want to just rehash. I want to make sure we keep moving forward here. Other than
Yeah.
to say that trust is really easy for you to build. I know in the personal side of things. And so I want people to know, even if you're not in like the Salt Lake area like we are, Taylor can do this for you anywhere you happen to be. So, like, yeah, he's digital right here. He can be digital with you and he can help you out. So whether or not you're in the state of Utah, whether or not you're local or not, you can reach out to Taylor and find him, and I'll give you some more of his info afterwards. But I mean, just the mere fact that this is the way that he's marketing himself right there is true to who he is, and he is straight up professional. So, moving on to that side of things, that professional side of things, where we build that trust, you had brought that word up, and how those things that you do seem to bring trust with people. You've absolutely earned my trust through that, so I feel that I can always recommend you and refer you with highest endorsement to anyone. Uh, I always ask our guests, hey, what's something that you could bring of value and leave with them just complimentary so that whether or not they were ever to use your tax services or somebody else, they would just be better off and they would feel like, hey, Taylor, he's the man. Like he really helped me out here. Just like when you were like, hey, by the way, if you got an S corp, March, what was it? March 16th? March 16th is
Yeah, it was March 16th this year, but normally it's March 15th. But if it falls on a
yeah.
weekend, then they have to change it.
Yeah, so just like you just dropped that one right there, and I'm like, all right, Taylor, let's talk. We're gonna do the same thing for you here. So Taylor's prepared something for us. Taylor, you ready to jump in here and add some value, build some trust?
Yeah, for sure. I just have some information that I learned, and I shouldn't say learned, but was reminded of earlier today. So, unfortunately, we're living in a world that is continuously um, expanding in our technological advancements. And in those technological advancements, there's more and more ways for hackers and thieves to get information that can ruin people's lives. So that is one of the unfortunate things about my profession is we do handle a lot of sensitive information for clients. So that's why I use a portal. I'm very careful with any physical documents that I handle for clients to make sure that that's put in a place that's secure, and something that most, if not all, accountants or other people in my industry take very seriously. And that's why sometimes you might get a notification that says, hey, we need you to create a password that has two numbers and two special characters and all of this. Something that Russ and I were kind of handling earlier today. Um, but that being said, so there's all these ways that you can lose information or your information identity can be stolen. So that's where I wanted to just share my screen really quick if I can do that. And I'll pull up um, one thing that is going to be really helpful for anybody watching. Um, so what we have pulled up on the screen here is going to be what you would see if you're logged into your IRS account. So if you have an online account with the IRS, you can do a lot of different things. Personally, or right now, what we're going to be dealing with is what this identity protection pin or an IP pin. So what this is, it's a six-digit number that prevents someone else from filing a return with your social security number without your consent. That is one of the ways that hackers or thieves will get in and try and get information out or get refunds that you're due to them instead of yourself. So having an IP pin is highly recommended for everybody. Something that I'm learning more to push as a tax firm owner. In prior years, it's been kind of a hey, it's up to the taxpayer. If you want to protect yourself a little bit further, this is a way that you can do it. For sure, that is, we live in the land of the free, home of the brave. You can still do whatever you want to do. But as a professional, as somebody who sees the damages that can be done by some of this theft, I highly recommend, if you don't already, getting an online IRS account. What you need to do that is get an ID.me. That's something that can be done fairly easy. Takes probably 10 to 20 minutes. If you've got a smartphone, makes it super easy. If you've got somebody in your family that might be a little bit older, I have a grandfather that is just super not tech savvy, so sometimes we have to go over and help him out with things. But I would recommend setting that up. That allows you to create an account online with the IRS. Some of the things you can do there is check on documents that you would have had that you need to prepare your tax returns each year. They have copies of those that have been filed by your employer or other financial institutions that would have that information for you. Um, that and many other things. But again, today, if you're able to log in, you'll always land on the account home over here. If you navigate to your profile, that's at the top ribbon here. Under your profile, you have these columns: your personal information, banking, communication preferences, and then you can click on identity protection pin. This is where you want to click this blue button, enroll an IP pin. So what that does is, if you're able to do it online, you get it pretty much instantaneously. If you are in a situation that you're not very tech savvy and you don't have the ability to do that, you can do it through the mail, and I'd be happy to help anybody with that that might need help and direct you in that way. Russ has my contact information behind him. You can contact me. Go to my website. You can find my contact information there, or text, call my number that's listed there. Message me on Facebook or email me, Taylor at TBA Tax. But as far as what that does, you're going to get that IP pin. It's a six-digit number again, and that's going to go towards you each year. So this is a number that changes each year to increase that security. What you do with that is, if you're filing yourself on TurboTax or another self-service portal like that, they should have a spot for you to input that number before you file so that it can be filed. If you don't put that number in and you've enrolled to get this IP pin, then at that point you would get a reject or a notice saying, hey, this return needs to have a pin associated with it for your identity protection. Please provide that. And if you have either forgotten it or you don't have one and it's been deemed that you need one, sometimes that can happen in situations where you didn't enroll in the status. You have to get one because of previous situations or other security breaches. They'll require you to get one. Very easy process to get it, like we showed here. All you have to do is hit enroll and go through a couple extra processes to confirm that. Or again, if you're filing with a professional like myself, we will have communication with you to get that kind of number from you before we e-file your return. Best practice for us and what I do is to get that number from you right before we file, not necessarily during the initial collection phase, because I don't want to be putting that number, which is sensitive, into my tax software before we file and have it sit there for multiple days as we're waiting for another document or piece of information that's needed to finish the return. Because if my tax software, my login information or whatever, if that's a breach and they're able to get that IP pin from any of the accounts that I've started but not yet finished, that's something that would trigger and could cause some problems for myself as the preparer, but also the the taxpayer. So that's best practice for me and other preparers. If there's other preparers watching this, again, that's probably going to be the best course of action. If you are used to putting that pin in as you're preparing the return and it takes some time, maybe we need to change that process and take that number out and set a time that we put that number in right before we get the right after we get the approval from the client, and then right before we send anything to e-file, because e-filing takes just a couple minutes with the IRS to get a notification back. So that's everything IP PIN, what you need to understand, and how you can protect yourself from some of these unfortunate thefts that are going on. One of just to touch on things to expect is there's a lot of email fraud going on, phishing emails. So many of you probably already know this, but again, it never hurts to reiterate and re-educate on what to be aware of when looking at emails. If you're ever getting an email with a link in it, especially if it's looking official from the IRS or anything like that, you can use your mouse to hover over a link. So I'm still sharing my screen here. We have the facts about identity protection. If you hover over that, not sure if you can see, but in the bottom left of my screen, it does give you exactly what that URL is. So you can use that tool without clicking on it, just hover over any link to make sure that that looks legitimate. Some of these links that are being sent out, that instead of that actual URL that's being listed ending in irs.gov, it's going to be ending in ima.com or like all these different things for just not actually the IRS. And what those links do is they'll immediately, once you click them, immediately download some malware that changes your computer, downloads information that's going to cause an issue for your identity protection. So hopefully that's all helpful. Maybe Russ can ask me some follow-up questions to make that um, more clear and straightforward for people. But I don't know, Russ, let me know if there's anything that you feel like might need to be touched on or reiterated.
I loved it. Very comprehensive. I guess the question I have is when you told me today, you're like, have you heard of ID.me? And I was like, yes, that does sound familiar. And then I went in to, reset everything so I could have that. I had obviously set that up, I imagine, for something like this. And would it be a better, easier practice for someone to start at ID.me and have that account set up before they come to the irs.gov? Or is it better to start at irs.gov and it's going to direct you there anyway to create that account if they don't have one?
Yeah, you can certainly start at id.me, but I think it makes more sense to go the route of the irs.gov, just because they're going to give you the option of when you're signing in with them, the options are sign in with ID.me or create an account through ID.me. So
Mm.
they have a link directly to ID.me. It is a comprehensive thing where you have to take a picture of your ID, typically a driver's license, and then take um, a specialized scan or picture of your face right then and there while you're completing the application. That way it can verify you that way. Um, so again, it takes about 20 minutes sometimes to set up, depending on your technological abilities, but it's way more worth 20 minutes out of your day to day than it is potentially losing some of that time and money down the road if there is a breach in your security. So definitely recommend it for anybody and everybody that needs to file taxes. Um, in our situation, that is most everybody. So please get an IP pin. That's my free advice for today.
That is good advice. I'm gonna drop us back to us. Actually, maybe if you go ahead and drop us out of that, we'll bring it back to
Yep.
you. So massive value add here from Taylor, even to the other tax professionals, right? Whereas if they have not been using that best practice, then it's like, hey, let's switch that up and make sure we're protecting our clients here. So as Taylor mentioned, right behind me here, we've got his information, but I'm also going to put that in our show notes. So if you're getting this here on YouTube, especially, just check on the bottom there. We'll make it easy for you so you can go to TBA Tax, TBA.tax to find Taylor and get the personal and the professional all the way there. We've got Taylor at TBA.tax. And then we've even got his phone number here with Facebook, TBA Tax on Facebook, phone number 385-282-4800. And Taylor, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you, first of all, personally, for helping to take care of me, my family, my business with our tax needs. You've done just a spectacular job there. And thanks for joining me today so I can share you with my audience so they can get to know you, like you, and trust you and receive that same kind of caring competence in their tax life as well. All right, my friends, that is it. That's our wrap. Taylor, thank you, my friend. We'll see you later.
Okay. Thank you, Russ. Have a great day.